We are going to be making juice out of this massive golden melon. I know technically this is called a golden honeydew, as it says on the sticker right there, but when I first started buying these, they were just called golden melons. And I know there's different strains of them as well, because some taste more like a honeydew and some taste like completely like their own thing. And the golden melon just tastes like not even like a melon. It tastes like you're eating the fruit form of milk and honey, and it's just so delicious. These ones are a little bit more on the honeydew side, and they do still have a little bit of that milk and honey flavor. And when I say milk and honey flavor, the original golden melons add almost like to them as well. So I think that I was looking for when I bought this, and I tried one already, and it didn't quite deliver on that flavor, and they just weren't tasting the way that I was hoping them to taste. So what happens when you have fruit that doesn't taste exactly the way you like it? It might not be, nothing's wrong with it. It's not rotten, it's not pungent, sour, whatever. At the same time, just throw it away. Well, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that situation right here, right now. And when in doubt, juice it out. So let's go ahead and start. When I have a melon that's in like the cantaloupe honeydew sort of style, and even some watermelons that are on the smaller side, first things first is I cut them directly in half around what I like to call the belt, between the two stem ends, right in the middle, where if it was Humpty Dumpty, it would be wearing a belt right there in that section. So let's go ahead and cut that through. Boom. Okay, cool. And now I know a lot of people like to eat the seeds along with their melons. I'm not that really hardcore yet. What I do like to do is scoop them out with a spoon, and I'll just go ahead and put them in this bowl right here. But what I do like to do when I'm removing the seeds is too much of the flesh. So I'm actually pretty careful about digging out seeds. And let me go ahead and just, hey, what's up guys? What's up? What's up? Give me a shout out below. Let me know who you are. And if you've got any questions about nutrition, about health and fitness, just shoot them below. Today we're making golden honeydew juice. It's going to be really delicious. So right now I'm digging out the seeds carefully, and why I like to dig the seeds out carefully and not take out too much of the flesh of the actual melon when I dig out the seeds is because I've found that the meat of the melon that's nearest to the seeds is also the sweetest and most delicious. And there's also a lot of juice there that I don't want to waste when I dig out the seeds. So let me just remove the minimal amount of flesh along with the seeds and the minimal amount of juice along with the seeds on this first half here. Boom. And then you're left with, oh yeah, look at that, not too shabby, not too shabby. And of course there's already juice collecting down in the bottom. Let's taste it. Oh my God, okay. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. All right, let's do the other one. You guys, this golden melon is big. It's like the size of a small watermelon. And I'm juicing it because the flavor wasn't really hitting the way that I was hoping it would hit. And you might hear me calling it a golden melon. Well, I think there are different strains. There are golden melons and French canary melons and these golden honeydews. They all kind of look similar with the white flesh, and they have a similar milk and honey taste. But I've noticed some growers just do it better. Like there's a brand that goes, actually, I found it distributed through Walmart called Mike's Melons out of Guatemala. Or it might be Honduras. Hold on one second. Yeah, Honduras. Oh, wow. This is still pretty good, though, guys. That's quite good. But I strongly feel that the juice that I'm going to make with it is going to be better, than eating the flesh. There's the seeds that I removed. You can see a little bit of that like stringy sort of flesh. Hope you guys can see it. But that's just basically all seeds, guys. When you take the seeds out of your melons, don't dig a bunch of the flesh out. Yo, Island, what's up? You're back. What's up, what's up, what's up? Okay. Red Liz, what's up, bro? Yo, Andrew Stoker, what's up? Red Liz, what's up, what's up? You guys ask me any questions you want to ask below. I'm just basically, what are we making today? Yo, Island, that's Island's like favorite question to ask me. We are making golden melon juice out of these big boys. I mean, just look at the size of this golden melon. It's in the Honeydew sort of family. Okay? I mean, that thing's massive. I already had one that I had already cut up. Alright? But the flavor of the melon itself, it just honestly wasn't doing a whole lot for me. It's just honestly not my favorite. For whatever reason. So, I'm not about to waste this, or even waste this small amount that I already cut up from the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an experiment, and we are going to juice it. Because I hate wasting stuff, guys. I don't know if you guys are in the US or where you're based. If you're in, a developed country and you don't really have to deal with like starvation or anything like that. When you see other places around the world that they would be overjoyed to have this. I'm not about to just throw that away. Okay, I'm not about to buy things that I don't need. I'm not about to be wasteful at all. I still produce, garbage, but I think we have better garbage management technologies available to us that would help us with pollution that the governments are just not using. So, but as we move forward with this channel, I'm going to show you guys all my little tips and tricks, and I'm just learning right along with you on ways that we can be more self-sufficient, ways that we can not contribute to pollution and, being too wasteful with our food. That's why we're going to make juice out of this bad boy. We just took the seeds out. Delicious, delicious. Yes, Island. I mean, I'm not picky. Just about, anything. You guys just saw me do a 42-day juice fast, and we juiced just about everything you can think of. My green juices just had everything in there, and they were delicious. It's just that this particular melon, it's just not really doing it for me. So we're going to juice it, and then try the juice, and then just see how that tastes, and see if it tastes any better than eating the melon itself. Okay, so we cut it in half along the belt. We took the seeds out, and now we cut a little piece off the top. All right, now we're going to go ahead and skin it. So just start at the top. Make sure you have a nice sharp knife. I just recently sharpened this knife, and I'm still like getting used to it again because it's like so sharp right now, but that's what you want. And just start to take the skin off. Can you guys see that okay? I mean, this is going to make it so much easier to cut into pieces, into juice. And, whether I'm juicing it or not, or if I'm just eating it, it's the same procedure. Same exact procedure. Cut it in half along the belt. Take the seeds out. Cut a little piece off the top, and then start working your knife around, skinning it. You can do this with a cantaloupe, with regular honeydew. You can do this with a watermelon. We have a Sprouts around here that has just so many different melons that come into season, especially during the summer. And I guess we're moving into like the fall, I suppose, already. So yeah, different stuff is always coming into season, coming out of season, and just try to buy what's seasonal and try to, you know, do your best to be good at selecting produce that is fresh. And it starts to kind of become like an instinct after a while. And then that way you're going to have less problems with wasting it and with throwing it away. All right, so you guys see I just cut a piece off of it. And you're going to see that I cut it in quarters basically from here. All right. So we start with 1/4. Okay. And then I'm just going to pop them into my big old container that I have off to the side. Boom. We're just going to dice this baby up. So that was 1/4. Here's the next quarter. So starting to look like that. And then we have these melon steaks, if you will, to use that term loosely. So you guys, I've only, you know, I did my 42-day juice fast, guys. I was only on juice for 6 weeks, and that was quite an experience. My previous longest juice fast was just over 3 weeks at 23 days. All right. This one, I started at 202 pounds, and at my lowest, I was 177. Okay, so that's, I guess, 25 pounds. So I lost a lot of weight. And then today I weighed 181, which is still pretty light for me. And I just started eating last Tuesday. So I've been eating for just about a week. And what I'm eating is what you see before you. Fruits, vegetables, and I've had a little bit of nuts and seeds. But I get the majority out of my fat now from avocados. All right? So avocados are an interesting source of fat because they also have a lot of really good protein in them. All right, so once we cut the 4/4 off of the melon, now we're left with that bottom piece, as you see here. And I cut these little arms off, and I typically eat these. Let's give it a try. See, that's what I wish the whole melon tasted like. But getting into the thick part of it, it just doesn't have that same flavor as around the seeds. The previous golden melons that I got, they tasted like that throughout the entire thing. Oh my God. So I thought I was going to gain weight a lot faster. But I'm not. So that's kind of interesting. And what I attest to is that I released so much gunk that was coating my intestines out of my body that my body's just like super efficient at digesting. And remember, once you start eating again after a juice fast, that doesn't mean that your detoxing is done. I think that's something to really take note of. It's going to slow down a little bit, but as long as you don't jump right back into like really bad stuff, like I told you, I've just been eating fruits and vegetables, little bit of nuts and seeds. I had some pumpkin seeds and some almonds just because I was traveling, and you know, I don't know, it was just helping me along my journey to have little snacks because I was going from here to here to here to here to here to here, and just eating apples and bananas. And what else did I buy? I bought one watermelon, the almonds and the pumpkin seeds. And then I was just having little snacks along the way. Like there were some grapes growing at my mom's place up in Minnesota. They were just amazing. She had some cherry tomatoes were yellow that were just amazing. The cucumbers were amazing. And I was just eating them raw, plain, and in the garden. So just really, really good stuff. Oh, I did have some peanut butter. That was amazing. But my body wasn't like, what's interesting is, peanut butter used to be like my kryptonite. Like, don't give me a spoonful of peanut butter because I will eat the whole jar type of thing. But this time, I had a big jar at my disposal, and I just scooped out a couple tablespoons or whatever. I had a little bit, and I was like, oh, that's very satisfying. That's really good, but that's all I want. And I saved the rest for the next day that I had scooped out onto a paper plate. So, the fast did a lot of stuff. It cleaned me out. And it kind of changed my relationship with food. And granted, this is my second fast that I've done. And I think that goes to show you that you might need to do a couple juice fasts to get the bulk of the digestive tract from the mouth to the back completely clean. And so much stuff came out, guys. And I have pictures of all of it. I'm not going to gross you out with those pictures. If you want to see them, you can email me, blake@rawfood.lifestyle. blake@rawfood.lifestyle, and we can work something out. But I'm not going to release them publicly right now, but they're in my phone, they're in my cloud. And we have about 30 feet of intestines, including your colon. And so how much of that 25 pounds that I lost was that stuff? I think a good probably 15 pounds, maybe 10 to 15. 10 on the low end for sure. So, but then now I'm just, if I'm hungry, my body's like, all right, drink some water, have some food, whatever, if I'm thirsty or hungry. But I don't have that same sort of like voracious appetite and that addiction to food. And I thought I had already eradicated that after my first juice fast. And I've also done a couple water fasts that have been shorter durations. And I proved to myself that if I want some peanut butter, I can have a little peanut butter, and it's not the end of the world. I don't need to be like worried that I'm going to have some sort of binge episode with it. And so that's really cool too. My biggest takeaway after the second juice fast has been to limit my fats. Before the juice fast, I was just kind of binging on cashews and walnuts. And that's why I use almonds this time around. They're not as, they don't make you like just eat handful after handful after handful, And even that once in a while, just binging on some cashews, nothing wrong with that. Okay, have a little cheat meal, but have it be still a healthy cheat meal. Just go above your calories if you want. Or feel really full, whatever you want. Okay? I've also been very strict. I even did a 2-mile run on the treadmill while I was on my trip. My trip was only about 3.5 days. I got a lot of steps in. I did some yoga in my hotel room. So I've been super regimented on doing my sun salutations, my breath work, my headstand, my handstand every morning, and then I'll typically go on a 1.5 or 2 mile run, and then a few times a week I'm doing calisthenics in the park. But you guys, I rarely go to the gym anymore, so I'm strongly considering canceling my gym memberships. This is coming from the guy who used to fantasize what if I had multiple gym memberships, and I do. I have LA Fitness and Slash Esporta and Crunch. And there's I have 4 gyms around me that I go to, 3 Crunches and 1 LA Fitness. You just have no need anymore. You don't need to do certain moves, certain exercises that just put muscle on the body. Okay? You want to be your natural weight. You want to be your natural size. And right around 180, maybe a little bit bigger as I continue refeeding. You know, maybe 185. Maybe that's going to be where I hover for a little while. But this feels like my natural weight. I feel like I look pretty good. Sorry for the tan line. Pull up my pants a little bit so you don't see the tan line. But you can see I've still got a little bit of excess, you know, flab and fat. It's not bad though. I mean, you can even see that these pants are kind of like falling down a little bit. And they used to be like tight. I could barely wear them. Okay? But I feel light. I feel fresh. I feel good on my feet. Can we eat dog? Is it healthy? I don't advise eating any animal products whatsoever. And let me just talk about that for a second, you guys. I was telling my mom this when I just went up to see them because they were being so nice, honestly. They used to kind of comment on, you know, on my experiments, whether I got super big or super lean. You know, I've always been experimenting and trying to figure out, like, what's the healthiest way to live? There's so much conflicting information around. And I remember one time she said that I looked emaciated or whatever when I was doing keto. You know, and I had just got done doing a 6-week juice fast when I went up there. And I know that I'm not looking, you know, as bulky and big as I typically do. But I grew up in Minnesota, guys. And we have winters up there that if you're not used to that sort of weather, you don't, you know, good luck being raw in that sort of environment. It's not Toronto, it's not Washington, D.C., it's not New York, it's not Portland, it's not even Chicago, okay? It's not Detroit, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the Twin Cities and surrounding suburbs of the Twin Cities of Minnesota. The winters get colder than Alaska in many instances. Okay, guys? It's just a little polar vortex area. So, you know, you go outside and it's negative 30 Fahrenheit, and then you're going to come inside and have a salad and like eat an apple and a banana as a snack. I don't think that's going to work for a lot of people, just realistically. And the traditional Chinese medicine says that would be stupid, that it would burn out your life force to try to eat raw foods and make your body work that much harder to stay warm. Okay? That's why we like to eat warm stuff. And before the times of distribution, what would we naturally eat up there? Whatever we could preserve over the winter from the summer. So this would be canned or pickled stuff that we could heat up and make a soup out of it. Or potatoes. So why do you think it's known as the meat and potatoes area up there? Okay, so, you know, my family was being so nice. They weren't really commenting on the fact that I was looking a little bit thin. You know, there were no bad comments at all. They all said that I looked great, actually. And I do feel great and look great. And I probably did look better than when I looked, you know, when I was in 172 pounds on the keto diet. I actually guarantee you I look better. But I told my mom that, you know, even though I'm not eating products, I'm not going to be waving the vegan flag. Okay? And yes, technically right now the way that I'm eating is raw vegan. Okay? But I'm not going to say that I'm a raw vegan or that I'm a vegan. I'd rather just say vegetarian, but what I usually say is that I'm a raw foodist. Okay? The reason why I don't say that I'm a vegan or raw vegan is because the vegans are like animal activists. Okay? I get it. I get it. Save the animals. It's atrocious. The slaughterhouses, industrial agriculture, industrial farming. It's absolutely atrocious how we are just usurping the life of these animals and treating them so poorly. And then we're ingesting their fear, that they felt before they die. And these meats are making us aggressive. When they switch certain prisoners over to a vegan diet or vegetarian diet, all of a sudden there's less violence. It was a study that was done. Okay? So I was telling my mom this, I'm not going to say I'm a vegan because we had to survive over the wintertime using animal products, whether it's cheese, meat, anything that we can preserve, canned chicken, preserved chicken in mason jars, and then make a soup out of it with whatever stored dry rice or stored dried pasta, and put some, pickled carrots, pickled beets, or preserve this, preserve that, and make our soups, and that would warm us. And TCM would be like, yeah, that's what you needed to do. So you're not burning out your life force energy trying to stay raw, okay? So for all the vegans out there that are animal activists, thumbs up. Keep doing what you're doing, okay? But for the vegans out there calling either my former self or my family like stupid, bad people, cadaver eaters, idiots, murderers, all this, these other terms, you guys are actually kind of slow in the head, unfortunately, because you don't realize what you're saying. You're not thinking about what you say before you say it, and how offensive it is to somebody who had to raise a family with little to no money in the dead of winter, where the winters are worse than Alaska. So you can shove it, all you little crybaby, weak vegan people, okay? Now, if you're a vegan person and you're like, yes, I'm doing this for myself, I'm doing this for humans, I'm doing this for the planet, and for the animals, but I'm not going to judge anybody else how they're eating because they're not ready for this way of eating yet, then I applaud you. Okay, good. But if you're calling me or my family bad people, you're just uneducated and you're taking a stab because you have some sort of emotional battle that you're fighting in the form of animal activism, which is really kind of like a surface level fight that you're fighting because you feel like you have some sort of lack of control deep within you because your sovereignty was violated when you were younger or something like that you need to deal with. Okay, it's a very immature thing to put down entire cultures like the Scandinavian culture that I'm from, where we eat fish and venison, which is deer meat, if you guys didn't know that. And when we kill animals, like when I kill fish, or when my family hunts a deer or something like that, we give it an honorable death. All right? That's a huge difference in the vibration of the animal when we eat it, when it sacrifices its life for our life, versus farming these freaking chickens and pigs and cows and then lining them up in a big line to go get killed, and they smell the smell of death and the release of the feces and urine once they have no control over their body, and it just pours out after they are killed. If you've ever smelled a slaughterhouse like the one in West St. Paul, there's no smell quite like the smell of death at a slaughterhouse. So, I say not to eat animals, but I don't say I'm a vegan, because I don't fight the same fights that they fight. I think that they're fighting unintelligently, and they're making a lot of enemies who could otherwise be their allies if they had a little bit more emotional intelligence. Because right now their emotional intelligence level is kind of like a teenage angst-filled, acne face puberty kid. Bro, you look sad. Or are you tired? They are like kids, yes. I'm probably a little bit tired, man. And sorry if I seem sad. I just got back from seeing my family, and I haven't seen them in maybe a couple years. And when I did see them last, it was not to the level that I saw them this time around, because it was like at weddings and at different gatherings and stuff, to where there's more distractions. This time around, I literally went to my parents' houses. I hung out with them one-on-one for some time. Some people are getting older in my family, having health problems. Oh, that reminds me. So to your question, Uit. I'm going to share a little crazy story. So I'm on the plane in the window seat, and this older couple will sit next to me, and I immediately smell that they smell kind of like a hospital, and it's a bad smell. And I'm thinking to myself, really? For 3.5 hours, I have to be smelling this smells like a hospital. It's terrible. I noticed the lady sitting next to me and then her husband on the aisle. Well, the lady had open sores on her hands with like blood coming out. And I'm like trying to not let my gag reflex come in. And then once we take off, she busts out a little fan and she's fanning herself. And so the smell of the hospital stuff is like wafting towards me. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to freaking hurl. This is disgusting. And then when the little drink cart comes down to the aisle, the husband, after I didn't exchange any, conversation with them up until that point, and the husband said, "Hey, what are you gonna take to drink?" I'm like, "Oh, I'll take some water. That sounds good." And then we start talking. He had stage 4 cancer, and she had really bad diabetes. And so I share with them the whole knowledge that I share with you guys. Why we need to clean our digestive tract first and foremost. Why we need to eat these raw foods. And why it's not going to just take one go. Why it's a lifetime practice. Okay? The real reason why we have health problems is that we're dirty on the inside. Toxicity is the only reason why we have 99% of our health problems, unless it's a mechanical injury or a birth defect. So I tell them the whole story, and they're like listening. They're like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh wow, yeah. Come to find out, they know my father. And then 2 days later, I see them at my father's campground. Holy crap! The absolute sheer probability of that is like 0. Do you understand? The probability of that is absolutely null and void. Impossible. Okay? So when something's impossible, that tells me the Most High did that on purpose. And at first, I thought that the Most High did that for them. I was like, thank you, Lord, for putting me in that situation to help them. Okay? Maybe a little bit of it stuck, and they get off of some medications, or it prolongs that gentleman's life. Okay, and then 2 days after the flight, I see them at my father's campground thing, which is, it's kind of crazy. It's like it's like in the wilderness, and there's a bunch of people that kind of camp together and stuff. It's pretty cool. And I see these 2 people, and they're drinking, and I'm just sitting to myself, thinking, they're drinking, they're taking these Jello shots. These people are in their 60s. They're telling me that they have a son and they have grandkids and all this and that. Now, do you think for 1 second that I think that that's okay? That Blake would say that if you have family, you can just let yourself go and die? That's absurd. That it's just utterly absurd. Most people, they only kind of give a F about themselves. Okay? And I saw my family making some poor choices as well. And that was the whole reason why there was kind of a disconnect between me and my family for a few years, because I didn't approve of their lifestyle. After I had tried to educate them and tried to show them, and they just weren't listening. And so then I was like, okay, God, well, maybe you did this for me too. Maybe you showed me that not everyone's going to be able to do what I do. And no matter how much time you invest in certain people, they're going to do what they're going to do, even if I find it to be a heinous and insidious decision, especially if you have family that depend on you, to let yourself go. So that's a very serious topic, guys. And I would say that most of the people that I know, well, let me say it like this. From my old life, most of the people that I know, they're just normal, kind of standard people. They don't know any better, okay? But they should, honestly. All right? Now, in Florida, my life here, I have a lot of friends and a lot of family who are on, family, not blood, but I consider them my family. A lot of people who are on kind of like the same, my hair's all crazy, who are on the same vibe as me. All right? And it's just such a stark contrast. But if you have a mom and a dad, which everybody does, whether you're in contact with them or not, especially if you have siblings, especially if you have a niece and nephew like me, or maybe you're a parent yourself, or maybe you even have grandparents. It is your responsibility as a human being to maintain the health and vibrancy of the vessel that you've been granted to live, and not live like some schmuck, like some idiot. That's just strongly how I feel. So I think that was a lesson to me to keep spreading the word, to keep giving, but to just not have too high of expectations, because most people, it's just going to be like you're speaking a different language, because they're just so blindly indoctrinated by the evil people, whose slaves are the white coats that give you pills. All right? So I'm going to keep on pouring out to anybody and everybody, regardless if they're ready or not, but especially to you guys. And you guys are clearly ready to start making some really powerful decisions. And I'll tell you one more quick story before we pop off. There was one such moment where my little brother, half-brother, quite a bit younger than me, I was like, look, I'm almost 40 and I still have a six-pack. That moment will stick with him forever. It's a little bit different when the proof is in the pudding, isn't it? It makes your message a little bit more powerful, doesn't it? So all the blappers, all the blah blah blahs out there talking about this or that, and you're the expert in all this, let's see the proof. Because when I hear you talking, I'm hearing that the lights are on and nobody's home. All you vegans, all you raw foodists, all you podcasters, you know the ones I'm talking about. And you know the ones who are my friends and who I'm not talking about. Okay? You know who you are. You know the real ones between the la-la F-tards. Okay? Be a real one. It's not too late. If you're living a fake life, okay? Let's be real. Okay? Time to be real. So, back to your question, Uit. I don't know how to pronounce it. I just have a lot on my mind, and I haven't really fully decompressed from my trip. So that just goes to show you guys like how deeply I think about things and how deeply I care about everybody, about the world, yeah, about myself a little bit, whatever, about my family especially. And I left my family to start my own life in Florida 14 years ago now. I want to say this upcoming February, it'll be 15 years. So we're just about, 14 and a half years. And that's my brother's age, who I showed my six-pack. When he sees his dad drinking and his mom smoking, gaining weight and getting gray and old and overweight. Okay? If you got a kid and you're making stupid decisions like that, are you a good person in Blake's book, or are you not a good person? Okay? My grandfather's still alive and has Parkinson's disease. And he's all the way there. I've had Parkinson's clients before who have their good days and their bad days. Well, my grandpa has Parkinson's, but he's always having a good day. At 81 years old. There's nothing stopping him. Okay? Because he's got his mind right and he's got his heart right. Okay? He's not a perfect person. He hasn't lived a perfect life. But I'm proud to call him my grandfather. And I'm proud of the decisions that he's taking now. To not be on all these medications. And to not be not only wasting all that money, but killing himself in the process. And he was in the Navy, and he was also a Catholic before he kind of, went into more of like the just Christianity, non-denominational. Thank you. But as a Navy man and a Catholic man, they don't mess around, man. Okay? That's the lineage that I come from. All right? On my father's side, engineers, steelworkers, mechanics, farmers. Do you think they have time to mess around? When they're trying to fix cars and build buildings and the winters are worse than Alaska? Do you think they have time to mess around? So I hope you're starting to get an idea of who the hell I am. Because that trip reminded me of who the hell I am. I'm not here to mess around, guys. You can clearly see that I take myself very seriously, but very lightly and fun at the same time. We were cracking jokes and we were having a blast. Me and my sisters, my mom and stuff, and even my dad, my brother, my dad's wife, all great people. Okay? They're better than me at so many things. Building things, fixing things. Got it in me. I'm able to do those things. It's just not my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do is to learn. And keep learning and keep learning and keep learning. And for 23 years, ever since I lost 100 pounds in high school, that was only the beginning. I've been on this journey, learning about all the different diets, all the different workouts, all the different restoration and regeneration techniques, sauna, ice bath, breath work, yoga, all of that stuff. And not only just learning about it, but also practicing it in my life. I became a personal trainer, did that professionally. My clients were CEOs, lawyers, doctors, business owners, worth collectively billions of dollars here in Florida, of course. The ones who can afford a personal trainer. A lot of retired people as well. All right. Then I became a yoga instructor and a health coach. And then I went back to corporate to kind of put it all together, and I just still wasn't at the bottom. I knew there was more information. I knew I hadn't solved it. I knew I hadn't cracked it. And that kept driving my seeking and my search. And I still don't feel that I fully cracked it, but I know that I found home. Okay? I found who humans are. I found what we're designed to eat and how we're designed to live optimally. That leads to a long, healthy life and a happy family. Okay? And it's right before you right here. It's right here. Okay? Raw fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. If you're going to eat cooked, eat lightly sauteed or steamed, or I like to use the pressure cooker as well, the Instant Pot, to make vegetable soups. Minimal to no starches, which are your potatoes, your rice, beans, lentils. Minimal to no animal products. If you're going to eat animal products, eggs, maybe fish, maybe chicken. You don't need to be eating pork ever. If you want to eat a steak once a year or something like that, or a hamburger, whatever, okay? And then when it comes to cleaning this out, it's an ongoing process because our air is tainted, our water is tainted, our food is tainted. Okay? So you're going to need to do a juice fast once a year minimum. And it might take several in 1 year, like I have done, to clean the entire digestive tract out. Okay? I think I've fully cleaned mine out. When I go to the bathroom, I wipe. There's nothing on the toilet paper. That means that I'm clean on the inside. And then from there, we can start to get more nuanced. We can start to get more strict or more dialed in with every juice fast that we do. And we can learn more. And the number one thing, once you kind of get that all straightened out, is to start planting your own food or to start trading with local people who grow their own food. That way it's not in the food system, meaning it doesn't get on a truck. It doesn't go through a chain store to get to you. It's directly from farmer to you. Or even better, you go pick it, you eat it off the freaking plant yourself. Like when I was at my mom's place, eating those delicious grapes and cherry tomatoes right off the vine. Woo! Just the way that God intended. So with that being said, you guys, I'm going to eat a little bit of this golden melon, this golden honeydew as it's technically referred to. I'm going to chop the rest, put it in this bowl. I've got another bowl right here, already ready already. Then we're going to juice it, all right? That way that this stuff doesn't go to waste, because I'm not going to be able to eat it all, and it's honestly not my favorite to eat. But to drink it is oh so good. So I hope you guys have an oh so good day, an oh so good Monday, a fresh start to a new fresh week. Yo, it's still August. Enjoy this warm weather. I hope you're just doing fantastic. And I put my intention to raise up your health and vitality such that you can live a long and amazing life and look, feel, and function your very best, you guys. I love you so much. Until next time, I will talk soon. Peace.